hated. And I mean like loathed.
Adric.
Adric. You hated Adric.
I hated Adric with a passion.
I loved Adric.
He was okay. I actually loved Turlu. I loved Turlu.
See, Turlo's the one I really can't get past. And Mel.
I hate Mel. Mel. Oh, Mel. And Perry. I couldn't stand Perry. And I think it was partly, I think it was Mel paired up with Sixth Doctor. That was just...
The screaming.
Oh, yes. Susan was the biggest grandfather. I am so sick. It doesn't matter how long it's been. When I hear you, grandfather. I have an ongoing joke. Susan was so horrible of a companion that her own grandfather dumped her on a Dalek-infested planet to get rid of her.
But he did say he'd come back for her.
But he never did.
He still hasn't, no.
He never did.
I forgot. He did say he would come back for Susan.
That was the whole closing speech for that episode.
That was awesome.
Oh, yes, I will be back.
Yeah, I'll be back.
The one, I can't remember the episode's name, but the one where the aliens were like mayflies.
I'm going
the family.
Oh.
53.
Yes. The one with the scarecrow, the scarecrows.
Okay, yes. Yes, Sylvester McCoy. Okay.
Was Verity.
Yeah.
And his father's name was Sidney.
The creators of the show.
Based off the creators of the show.
That is, yeah. That I have to go back and watch now. That was really interesting.
I caught that when I watched that episode the other day. I went, Verity Lambert.
Yeah.
No, that's funny. I could not. Mel, I think, had to have been the worst. Now, this is interesting with Mel. I think it was Mel. Yes, it was Mel, because Perry dies, kind of. And then they flip forward, and he's suddenly with Mel in the middle of his trials. And I remember reading that they were planning on, they almost pulled it off with River. They kind of did a variation with River on this. They wanted to show you with a companion, Mel, her entire lifespan with the doctor and her part ways, and then he goes off on his own little adventures. They were planning on throwing a couple more companions in there, and then you would have seen him meeting Mel, and then he would have continued his adventures with Mel. But it was Colin Baker, so they cut it after 2 years.
Yeah.
And they actually didn't introduce Mel until middle of that season. So you really only got 6 months with her before they said, we're pulling this because it's garbage. Now, what did you think of the movie? You apologized to me about the movie.
I did apologize for the TV movie. The TV movie. Okay.
They screwed up the mythos.
They completely and utterly took the mythos and threw it out the window. The Doctor is half human.
Yes.
No, he's not.
The Eye of Harmony was a physical thing that you could go and look at. It's not.
Yeah. Okay.
There was this whole about the only thing they kept from the mythos was the Master, the Doctor, the Cloister Bell, the TARDIS.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they threw everything else out the window.
Yeah.
The entire history was not there.
No, what was it? You know what I'm having a problem with is their inaccuracy with the Daleks. I am still on this whole, the Daleks were part of a race called the Dals, and there were the Thals, and they were at war. There was a radiation explosion, and it mutated the Dals. The Dals could not get away. The Thals went underground and survived. And when the Thals came out from the underground and they were healthy and renewed, the Dals had been horrifically malformed.
Right.
And they were vengeful, horrid, miserable creatures who were just hateful because of the mutation. And then 3 Doctors later, they completely altered their story so that Davros created them. And I am still not okay with that. I am still, every time Davros is introduced and they're talking about the father of the Daleks, I'm going, no, that's not what happened. So that one is that is my hang up.
That one is almost excusable if you allow for the fact that a given amount, you don't know how much time has passed between the 2 events.
Fine.
If you, because you've got to remember,
yeah,
these mutations have already been happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we don't know. Because you remember
Okay.
when Davros creates the Daleks, we're back at that war stage again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So is this a completely fresh war? We don't know.
That's
And
interesting.
that the doctor met Davros when he was a little boy. That was interesting.
That was. No, was.
That's another one that gives us a whole new perspective on that whole
I have to
history.
tell you.
It's kind of like, the doctor's wife. My husband was like, I hope Neil Gaiman doesn't screw up with the mythos. So
Yeah.
took it to a higher level.
Yeah. No, I loved.
The
I
TARDIS
loved
has always taken him where he was needed,
needing to
not
go.
necessarily where he wanted to go.
That was the other thing. The Doctor, since David Tennant, no, that it wasn't really the Doctor. It was just David Tennant. David Tennant drives that TARDIS way too well. I am sorry.
Except he always forgot to take the brakes off.
Yeah. No, watching. I spent the whole time watching David Tennant. This is before I went back and watched I'm like this. And then there's a moment with Rose, and I burst into tears. And I watched it like I was a fangirl. It was embarrassing. And then, and then I was not happy with Tennant the whole time. I'm like, this isn't the Doctor. This is not the Doctor. He's just too perfect. His hair's too, and then I see Matt Smith. Remember, I didn't watch any of the specials. So I went from the next Doctor with him walking in Christmas, and he's with this guy who's convinced he's the Doctor, and the Doctor gets to play the companion for once. And then it flips, and there's Matt Smith dangling like an idiot out of the TARDIS, and I went, that's the Doctor, I know. so, and I think that's right there why Matt won me over so quickly, is because the Doctor does not drive that TARDIS at all. It drives him. So many times I saw Patrick, the companion, say, where are we? And he'd go, I don't know. Let's find out.
I love the line of the TARDIS when she said, you stole me, but I stole you. And do you ever think I'd give you back?
Yeah, no, that
I was just like, ah!
So my 9-year-old is watching that episode. And she's talking, she's getting ready to go back into the TARDIS. And she's like, there's just one thing I have to say to you. And my 9-year-old goes, I love you. And she goes, hello. And she goes, yeah. That was like my,
yeah.
That was wonderful.
We were set up through that entire episode to expect that I love you.
Yeah, no, I was.
And then Neil Gaiman, like Neil Gaiman always does, he just turned it on its head.
Yeah, no, that was beautiful. That was absolutely.
Did she remind you of Helena Bonham Carter?
She did. No,
I swear the role was written for her.
It was. It should have been Helena. My daughter's sitting there the whole thing going, is she Bellatrix Lestrange? No.
The hair.
It is the crazy. It is the crazy.
That's not Bellatrix. She's just some crazy bitey woman.
No, that woman was
excellent.
Cast for that role. That was so. I have to tell you, I'm sitting there. I have my coffee. I'm sitting there having my morning breakfast, and I'm watching this interview between J.K. Rowling and Daniel Radcliffe. My husband comes out. He's exhausted, and he goes, "You're watching Doctor Who ahead of me." English accent does not equate. And that was a wonderful morning. It's like, no, I'm watching Harry Potter.
Hang on. It's Doctor Who. How can you watch it ahead? It happens at all times.
Oh no, we watch it together. I'm not allowed to watch it.
This is one of the things I love about being in Alaska and you have been on the opposite coast. We're already time traveling.
Yeah.
I'm 4 hours behind you.
Oh no, you should see me talking to Japan. Now that's a hoot.
Oh, with Jin?
Oh yeah, there's tomorrow's sun. Hello, what's the weather like? Hello today. No, I love talking to Jin for that reason alone. And he's like,
my best friend in Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I love
he's the one that gets me the autograph photos of people from Doctor Who. I love John.
Yeah, I love John too. Hook me up. I don't know who he is. But I need to know him.
I've known him for 20 years. We got talking Doctor Who. We got talking Laurel K. Hamilton, the Anita Blake series. He'd never read it. And I said, tell you what, mate, I'll send you 1 book a year for Christmas. He says, right. And I'll send you autographed photos of people from Doctor Who. And I'm like, Mer?
So all 10 of them.
We don't have a complete
We
set.
do not have a complete set. It's whoever gets to go to Sydney, basically.
Oh, I see.
And it's expensive to fly some of them there.
Yeah.
He is actually the treasurer of the Doctor Who Club in Sydney.
Yeah. Well,
So he helps put together the conventions, and he gets to escort the stars around Sydney.
Now, which ones have passed? Tom Baker is still with us. Is John
Tom Baker's
Pertwee?
still with us. Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee, William Hartnell are all deceased.
Okay.
So the first 3 doctors are deceased.
Okay. All right. That's sad because now I tell you, I held my breath for those reunions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I absolutely, and watching early on, I knew they were going to bring them all together. Okay, let's talk 3 doctors. I loved 3 doctors.
Yes.
Yes.
Them writing in that Doctor 2 and Doctor 3 did not get along was just, I still have, it runs through my head every day, just me. Who is that? Me. The 2 of them, just, it was wonderful to see them just not getting along.
Yes.
And yeah, the 5 doctors was wonderful. I think I prefer the 3 doctors though.
Of the 2, I think 3 Doctors was the better story as well.
Yeah, it really, and I think it was because the 2 of them just did not get along and they had to work together, but it's the same person.
Yeah.
So that just, now I am curious, when I got to a point in the show, I think it was around the 6th Doctor, and I think this is how I justified Colin Baker in that era. It got to a point where it stopped being 12 different men portraying the same role. It stopped being 12 regenerations, and it's one story. It's one man. And I was wondering at what point you got to that point.
I got to the point right away.
And you've been watching since you were 10.
I came in, during Tom. And when he regenerated into Peter Davison, I was like, this is cool. This is interesting because, it was my first time seeing him really transform. I didn't understand at first that, he could regenerate. And I'm like, this is a brilliant idea. So an actor gets tired of the role or, they get tired of the actor and they say, right, we're bringing in a whole new actor. Mm-hmm. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's clever script writing. Talk about a way to keep the role alive. Tim.
Well, it was because William Hartnell was very, very ill.
Yes, yeah.
In the role. That they're like, we want to continue the series, but we will not have William anymore.
Yeah.
So they're like, right, he regenerates into a whole new person. It's the same doctor, same memories, just new body, new personality.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I loved about the show. I was like, this is brilliant.
For me, it took a lot longer. I mean, I grew up with Tom. I went into Peter and then Colin, and it really wasn't until Sylvester I actually got the whole feel that it was the same person.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it took me that long just simply because there was that much going on history-wise with the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like Peter's Doctor.
Peter Davison.
And then to have Peter's Doctor followed by the wishy-washy Peter's Doctor, followed by the annoying as all hell Colin's Doctor.
And I felt
really until Sylvester I started seeing that yes, it is the same person.
Sylvester I think he did a fantastic job trying to patch the damage back together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now, best to my understanding, and this is from the research I pulled, so please correct me if I'm off here. They fired or changed out. The producers decided to completely rewrite the face of Doctor Who for the younger generation. Mm-hmm. So they fired the actor. This is when they brought Colin Baker in. They fired the writer and they fired the director. And they completely took a 100% turn. Colin came in. He said he wanted to do he wanted a black velvet suit. And I just saw an interview with him about 3 days ago where he said the outfit they put on Christopher Eccleston is what he wanted.
Yes.
And the producer said, no, I want you wearing a vomitous rainbow. So
they basically wanted to turn him into a clown.
Yeah. Turn him into a clown.
And he hated it.
They carried on that thing throughout the entire scripting.
Yeah. And I think after they bombshelled the stats and the ratings, they did what they could to pull it back together with killing Perry. I think they had to traumatize the Doctor at that point, which is why they killed Perry. And right then, when he realizes that the High Council brought him in for the trial and Perry was dead, that I saw a human side of Colin. He was so condescending. I'm sorry. He is never he's not condescending. He is a very loving, affectionate man when it comes to the humans. And suddenly Colin Baker walks in and he's just sneering his nose down at them. And I'm like, this isn't the Doctor.
There was a little condescension. I think there was a little condescending attitude there with the first
with William.
Yes, with William.
But a lot of that was because he was the crotchety old man.
Yes,
and it didn't fit, and it wasn't as harsh.
Right.
When it came into Colin's role, it was basically a slap in the face.
It was. And Tom Baker did it one time, and that was with Leela. He was always very respectful of his companions, with the exception of William Hartnell with Barbara Nean. And after they grow on him, he became very gentlemanish. I still remember the day they went to Rome for the day off, and Barbara and Ian were kidnapped, taken into slave, escaped, came back, rescued, burned, and the Doctor had no clue. Still one of my favorite episodes is their holiday in Rome. He's like, I'm going for a walk. Well, do we have to see it? They were there for like a month, just taking the time off. I loved that episode. Wonderful.
The funny thing was, Doctor Who was supposed to originally be educational.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I just read
they're
that.
Like, don't throw any bug-eyed monsters in. We will not like any bug-eyed monsters. They threw in the Daleks. Everybody's like, oh, cool.
Then they threw in the Zarbi and punished us.
The history out the window.
I hated the Zarbi. I hated the Zarbi so much. But Tom Baker did have a playful condescension toward Leela. And I love that moment. She challenged him. She's like, you're always looking down at me like I'm some sort of a rebel or something. He's like, yes, that's fine. Now let's go, Savage. It was just, I loved, that's fine. Let's go, Savage. I loved Tom Baker's relationship with Leela. It was the first time he showed just the slightest bit of looking down, but it was really playful. I think he liked her. That was the first time I'm like, I think the Doctor actually likes Leela, and that's why he's kind of picking on her a bit. But
then, he also liked Romana too.
Oh, Romana, that woman. Yeah, absolutely. I think Romana's my favorite companion. Absolutely. I loved her.
Romana 1 or Romana 2, though?
Romana 2.
Okay.
Yes. And Tom actually was married to her for a brief period of time.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yes.
She was just, I am waiting for her. I found out Gallifrey was destroyed. I'm crying, I'm sobbing, and I'm like, where's Romana? Where is Romana? She's out there. And
I'm space.
Yeah, she's in E-Space. Yes. Yeah, I want to see them bring E-Space back. No, absolutely. I am waiting for them to go back to E-Space. I'm like, we're going to go back. No, they have a massive story there with E-Space, and they're still not touching it.
Now, another thing I've noticed, there is a couple of episodes where they're showing the Omega symbol.
Oh my God, yes.
And I'm going, where are they going with this? Is the Doctor really Omega?
Yeah. No, that's okay. I have to ask, what is your thought about his name?
I was thinking he might be Omega.
Which really puts things into perspective if you consider Omega's role in the Time Lords.
Yeah. That's
it's
really
also very scary. But, as I keep pointing out to Sandy, one thing you've got to consider, Omega's history with the Time Lords predates the Doctor's history with the Master.
Yeah.
Considerably.
Yeah.
The Doctor and the Master were at school together.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So I have to wonder if the Doctor's Omega, then how can he and the Master have been at school together? Because that would have been a much bigger age difference between them than is shown in the more recent.
I don't think he is Omega.
I don't think so either.
I do believe that his name.
Remember, time is a big ball of timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff.
But Omega is the one who effectively created the ability for the Time Lords to travel in time.
Seriously, let's examine this paradox.
You could not travel back past that point.
I'm like trying to roll it over my head. If the Doctor were to mingle with his own timeline, there would have been a loop. And he's already been one-on-one with Omega. So did he enter a paradox loop at that point?
You don't know. We have had paradoxes before in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But they've always been an extreme event.
That would be an extreme event.
So they had the Dalek and Time Lord War. I was very upset about that because, like the Clone Wars, for the longest time you didn't get to see it. So yeah. I'm still sitting here going, why can't I would love to see that Time Lord. And you kind of see that with the War Doctor, but
You get the Time War happened in the books. There's a whole series of books that deals with the Time War.
There are books.
I thought it was brilliant that Tom Baker made an appearance.
Yes. Yeah, we
cried. We knew it was coming.
Yeah. I did not. I had no clue. I had not seen it coming. Like I said, I saw this much of his head, and I went, "That's Tom Baker."
Oh dear! I just realised something. I told Angela there were books.
Yeah, yeah. You did.
Look at that face. That face says it all. She's hunting those books down.
Books. There's books. Yeah, I can. Yeah. I can't focus now. I'm just thinking about books. No, I don't. There's just like this world is so big, and I'm trying to cram it all into
half an hour, which we've exceeded.
Yes, I know. It's bigger on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to go over this, and then we're going to end the call, and then I'll probably revisit you later when I get more to talk about with Doctor Who. So my daughter.
Hear what you say about that Red Nose Day.
Yes, I have to watch that one. I'll probably watch it tonight or tomorrow. So my daughter comes home with a meme. It's David Tennant with that crazed look on his face. Specifically from Harry Potter when he was Bartemius Crouch Jr.
Yes.
And by the way, no clue it was David Tennant. So again, I got to watch all of David Tennant without making, that's not true. I watched some of David Tennant, then I went back. So I did know that David Tennant was Bartemius Crouch Jr. when I was watching it. And I didn't see it at all. Now I can't watch Harry Potter without seeing the Doctor. But so she hands me this meme, and it is, can we all take a moment to realize just for one moment that the fourth Harry Potter movie is just the Doctor trying to end Twilight before it begins? Now, there are theories, and we've discussed this. The TARDIS is Mad-Eye Moody's chest.
Yes.
It's bigger on the inside.
It is.
It is. The wand is the screwdriver.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, there's a lot of credibility.
I'm sorry, but the whole idea of killing
Edward Cullen.
Edward before the events happen. Yes, thank you, Edward. You see where I'm going with this one. I like werewolves. I'm behind Jacob the whole way. The whole idea of killing Edward. No more sparkly vampires, please.
Yeah. No, really. No, mine do not sparkle.
Yeah, mine don't either.
Mine do not sparkle. I do not.
Vampires are not 1960s disco balls.
I do have a vision suddenly of one of my characters in Zombies from Space throwing a bag of glitter at one of the vampires.
In that case, can you do me a favour? Can we feather and tar them as well?
Oh, yeah.
Tar and feather them, then throw the bag of glitter.
Yeah, no, that would be. Yeah. Sparkles. So stupid.
Because let's be fair, you throw a bag of glitter at a vampire, they probably should spontaneously combust or something.
He does play. Yeah, I just, after watching it though, seriously, after watching where David Tennant took the character, it really, the first thing I did was say I have to go back and watch it from the beginning.
Yeah.
As in 2005. I didn't let my husband think that right away. I said 1963. And he twitched. And I'm like, okay, fine. I can start watching again from Christopher Eccleston. So we've already started watching it again. We left off with Peter Capaldi with Davros, with him saying goodbye to Davros.
I think it's brilliant that he plays the electric guitar.
Oh my God, that was epic!
Oh!
I
And he
love.
also got to do the Doctor Who theme on electric guitar.
Oh.
I was like,
That
yes!
was epic. I loved. I don't have a screwdriver. The sunglasses are just like, all right. I love the line. I don't know who I am. I'm embracing everything. Yesterday I walked around wearing a bow tie. The day before that, a really long scarf. Yeah. I love it when he references. And then there was one moment, I think it was with Christopher Eccleston, where he he went delusional. Maybe it was the Sixth Doctor. I'm getting my doctors crossed again. But one of the doctors was referencing all of his companions. I think it was the Sixth Doctor who did this. And he started talking to his companion. I think it was Mel at the time. And he started calling her Jamie and Sarah Jane and Zoe, Barbara. He went back. And anytime there is reference, and I think this is another reason why I loved Matt Smith so much, is because he is the only doctor to really, modern doctor, I should say, to really reference his past. David Tennant, there was almost no reference to his previous regenerations. And the very first thing you see with Matt Smith on that very first episode of his introduction is a flash of all the doctors. And I love, randomly, he pulls out his library card and there's William Hartnell's face.
Yes!
Yes.
That is the little stuff like that where I'm just going...
I'm waiting for one day for him to pull out his unit ID and see Tom's face on there.
Yeah, no, that and the recorder.
That pulled out the library card?
Yeah.
I think it was.
Just watched that the other night.
Yeah, Matt did that.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's at a point now where I'm watching the modern Doctor just to get snippets of the old Doctor. Like, I live for those moments when he makes the slightest reference to a stalk of celery or a long scarf or a recorder or a journal. The slightest.
You know why I wear this celery? Because if this happens, it turns purple. And then what happens? I eat it.
Okay, so this really upsets me. This really, really upsets me. I did not see the scene when Peter Davison picks up his first celery stalk and sticks it to his chest. I missed it. I have to go back and watch it. That particular moment, I stepped up to use the bathroom. I came back and my husband's like, he just put the celery on. What? You didn't pause it? Rewind it. You can watch it tomorrow. Never went back. So the moment when he picks up that celery stalk, and I want to know how it sticks to his chest. Was it Velcro? Because I saw no Velcro. I looked. And then I saw the day where he changes it out. He takes it off, he throws it down, picks up another one, and it just sticks. So Thanksgiving, I'm sitting here and I'm chopping
Magnets.
Magnets. I'm sitting here on Thanksgiving chopping up the celery.
Hey, damn you!
Stay! It wouldn't stay. So
celery is not spaghetti. It doesn't stick to things when it's wet.
But it does. You saw I don't know how he did it, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, I think it's real celery. I think it was real celery. I don't think it was like a spoof. Because one day he picked it up and he started eating it.
Right.
So it was real celery. I don't know. It bothers me.
I think Sandy's right. I think it's done with magnets.
Magnets. It really bothers me.
I think there's a little magnet stitched into his clothing.
Yeah.
And then there's a metal plate on the celery. Okay,
one more thing. And then really we are done with this because I have to go downstairs and watch Doctor Who. It's that time again. There was a reference with the writers with Matt Harrell regarding the Stetson. Stetsons are cool. And then he shoots it off his head. Do you remember when William Hartnell wore the Stetson?
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Possibly one of the worst episodes in the set.
I blocked it from my memory. Okay, no, I do have to ask this.
Gunslinger, sorry.
Do you have a favorite episode?
OK Corral.
Yes, that's what it was. See, I did block it from my memory.
It was the Gunslingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should not have tried the singing.
No.
I mean, I think that
over and over again, the same bloody song.
I actually think that entire episode was written to see just how much can we embarrass our cast members.